Which process are you talking about? Because I felt that Congressman Ratcliffe was being treated very unfairly. I was reading the press, and I think I am a student of the press, and I could see that the press was treating him, I thought, very unfairly. He's an outstanding man. And I asked him, I said, do you want to go through this for 2 or 3 months, or would you want me to maybe do something else? And he thought about it. I said, it's going to be rough. I could see exactly where the press was going. And fake news. He's a fine man. He's a fine man. And so we hadn't started the process, and I thought it's easier before we start. But I read things that were just unfair. And he's just too good. He doesn't deserve it. Little what? Well, that might be. I like Sue Gordon. And Sue Gordon is there now, and I like her very much. I've always liked Sue Gordon. It could be. Yeah, it could be. We'll make another choice, and Sue will be, she's there now, and certainly she will be considered for the acting, and that could happen. We'll probably be talking about it either later today or next week. You like Sue Gordon? No, I think he was just treated very badly, very harshly by the press. And he really had a decision to make. You want to go through this for, it could be months. And I said, I think I see exactly what they're trying to do. Nobody understands the press, but I think I understand them as well as anybody. And I didn't think it was fair. No, they didn't. I think he would have had support. But again, we were very early in the process. We hadn't even started. So we were very early in the process. And I think he would have had good support, certainly from the Republicans.
They seemed pretty chilly.
You what?
They were pretty chilly at first.
I haven't seen that. I can tell you the Democrats were chilly. That's for sure. But the Republicans, I think, would have been very good. But a lot of the Republicans didn't know John. But I think he would have had good receptivity, and he was getting that. But I believe he made the right decision.
Mr. President,
You understand?
what about China?
Well, no, you vet for me. I like when you vet. No, you vet. I think the White House has a great vetting process. You vet for me. When I give a name, I give it out to the press, and you vet for me. A lot of times you do a very good job, not always. I think the White, if you look at it, I mean, if you take a look at it, the vetting process for the White House is very good. But you're part of the vetting process, you know? I give out a name to the press, and they vet for me. We save a lot of money that way. But in the case of John, I really believe that he was being treated very harshly and very unfairly. No, I tell you what, I think he would have had very good support. Republicans love John Ratcliffe, and I think he would have had very good support. Now, he wasn't in that world that much. I think he would have picked it up very quickly. But I think he would have had great Republican support, probably would have had no Democrat support, which would have been nice to get some. But I think he would have done fine. But it would have been a long, hard slog.
Another question, if you don't mind, sir. The tweet that you put out about Elijah Cummings and that attempted burglary on his home. Nikki Haley saying it was so unnecessary. What did you say to Nikki Haley?
Well, that's okay. I don't mind that. The tweet itself was just really a repeat of what I heard over the news. I know his house was robbed, and I thought that was too bad. That was really not meant as a wise guy tweet. I mean, his house was robbed, and it came over the news at a certain moment last night, and I had just mentioned it.
What does China need to do to avoid those tariffs going into force on September 1st?
Well, I think China, number one, you have to understand, we are so far behind. We have been treated so badly And I don't blame China. I blame our past leaders, our past presidents, our past trade representatives. They've done a terrible job. China, we can't just go and make an even deal with China. We have to make a much better deal with China, because right now they have a very unfair playing field, and I'm turning it around. So we're getting 25% of $250 billion, and now we'll be getting 10% of probably close to $350 billion. It's a lot of money. China has to do a lot of things to turn it around, but you'll be seeing they've got to do a lot of things. It goes on September 1st, and frankly, if they don't do them, I can always increase it very substantially. In other words, I could increase it, if I wanted to, I could increase it to a very much higher number. Well, it's in a process right now. I know the case very well. It's a very sad situation. It's heartbreaking, but that's in a process right now, so I'm not going to get involved in the process. As you know, they're going to be making a final decision, I guess, over the next 10 days, so I won't interfere with the process. Say it?
How many troops are you withdrawing from Afghanistan?
Well, we've been moving it down. We've been moving it down from Syria. We defeated the ISIS caliphate, and we have now 100% of that. We have 2,500 prisoners, and Europe is going to have to take them, or somebody's going to have to take them. But we have 2,500 ISIS prisoners, and we've told Europe, hey, some come from France, some come from Germany. They're going to have to take them. So we'll see what happens. But we've pretty much reduced, we've taken it way down in Syria. Ultimately, it'll be down to a very few people, if any. With respect to Afghanistan, we've made a lot of progress. We're talking, but we've also made a lot of progress. We're reducing it. We've been there for 19 years. We're really serving as policemen. We could win Afghanistan in 2 days or 3 days or 4 days if we wanted, but I'm not looking to kill 10 million people. What about it? We could win that war very easily. I could win that war in a week if I wanted to, but I'm not looking to kill 10 million people, okay? Many of them would be innocent people. I'm not looking to do, and I'm not talking nuclear, by the way. I'm talking totally conventional, but I'm not looking to kill millions of people in Afghanistan. That I can't tell you. I mean, you know, we'll find out. Well, I hear he's done a good job. I don't know Congressman Hurd, but I've heard he's done a good job. We differ on certain subjects, but I've heard he's actually done a good job. It's too bad he's leaving, but really don't know him. So I do have a short list. I have a list of a few people. We're looking at very well-known people. People where the vetting would go very easily because that's what they've been doing. They're in the intelligence world. So I have a list of 3 people that I'm going to be working on over the weekend. We're going to Bedminster. I'll be working on that over the weekend, and probably on Monday I'll give you an answer. And I do like Sue Gordon very much as acting, as per your. Say it again.
Who would you like to debate? You said you were light on.
Well, I think we have a lot of good people. We have 3 people specifically. I mean, I could tell you, they're right here.
Who are they?
Right there. But it's too early. Do you want a piece of the list? Go ahead.
As far as peace negotiations with the Taliban, can the Taliban be trusted? Do you trust?
Well, I don't want to say if they can be trusted or not. Look, history, I would say, is not so good, but they don't like us much either. But we've brought them down. We brought the number of soldiers down very substantially. They're coming down. We are talking to them. We have a lot of advantages making a deal with us. We're doing very well, as you know, with Pakistan. I met a gentleman who I liked a lot, as you know, last week from Pakistan. I have a lot of respect for him. We have a good friendship, a good feeling, good chemistry. And I think Pakistan will help us, and I think others will get involved. but we've been there 19 years. We're not really, let's put it this way, we're more policemen than anything else, and that's not for our soldiers. And I've said it a lot. We could win the war we could win the war if you look at it, and you could look at it any way you want. We could win the war in Afghanistan in less than a week. But I'm not looking to kill 10 million people, and I'm not talking nuclear. I'm not talking nuclear. But we'd win that war in less than a week, and I have that as an option, always. But that's what we're not looking to do.
How do you avoid your arms race now that you've decided to withdraw from
So with Russia, we have been speaking to Russia about that, about a pact for nuclear, so that they get rid of some, we get rid of some. We'd probably have to put China in there, but right now, we're number one, Russia's number two, and China's number three, but China's quite a bit down in terms of nuclear. China's much lower, but we would certainly want to include China at some point. But I would think that the relationship is good. We're trying to have a good relationship. It's very hard in light of the phony witch hunt, which is now dead. But I will say this, with Russia, if we could get a pact where they reduce and we reduce nuclear, that would be a great thing for the world. And I do believe that'll happen. We have discussed it. I've also discussed it with China. I've discussed it with President Putin. I've also discussed it with China. And I will tell you, China was very, very excited about talking about it, and so is Russia. So I think we'll have a deal at some point, but the particular pact you're talking about that expired as of today, they weren't living up to their commitment, and I said if they're not going to live up to their commitment, then we always have to be in the lead. You know, I've redone our nuclear. We have new nuclear coming. I hate to tell that to people. I hate to say it because it's devastating, but we've always got to be in the lead. Hopefully, and hope to God you never have to use it. Say it. We have new everything. We have the finest military in the world. We make the finest equipment in the world by far, whether it's fighters, whether it's missiles, whether it's the ships, whether it's submarines. There's nobody to compete with us. But if we could hold off spending by getting a pact with Russia and with China, that would be very good for all three countries. You're talking about the trade on beef? EU is very tough to deal with. They're very difficult. They have barriers. They had barriers on beef. We broke that barrier today. I appreciate it. It's a group of countries, as you know. We love those countries, but for dealing with them, they're very, very difficult. But we did a very big deal today, beef, and we're going to be selling them a big percentage of their beef, and that's great for our ranchers and farmers. So we were happy to do it. Auto tariffs are never off the table. If they would not treat us fairly, which they're not. I mean, it's right now. Look, the EU has tremendous barriers to us, but we just broke the first barrier, and maybe we broke it because of the fact that if I don't get what we want, I'll put auto tariffs, because it's all about the automobile and it's all about the tariffs. If I don't get what I want, I'll have no choice but maybe to do that. But so far, they've been very good. And I want to thank Mexico. The numbers are way, way down, apprehensions. The numbers are way down. Mexico, they have about 21,000. They actually now have maybe more than that on our border. They have another 6,000 on their northern border, okay? If you view it that way, their northern border near Guatemala. And I will tell you, Mexico's doing a great job. Well, I would love to see, before we talk about Secretary, I will tell you, I would love to see the Democrats sit down and work out the loopholes in 20 minutes, because that's what it would take, and work out asylum. But we're moving along with an asylum fix, an asylum bill. Lindsey Graham's heading it up very capably, and we'll see what happens.
If the trade war with China continues, that there will be further bailouts for farmers in the U.S.
I'll always help our farmers. Our farmers were targeted by China. And our farmers, frankly, these are great patriots. I'll always help our farmers. There'll be a time when the biggest beneficiary of what I'm doing with respect to China and trade generally, you're seeing it with the EU. They couldn't do the cattle thing at all. Beef, they couldn't do it at all. And now all of a sudden this came out of nowhere. Our farmers will ultimately be the biggest beneficiaries, and they know that. But our farmers are great patriots. No, what happens is China devalues their currency, and China also is pouring money out, and that will pay for the tariffs. It's a total misnomer. Now, I don't say that with all countries, but with China, they're very highly sophisticated, but so are we. More than anybody would understand. All you have to do is ask China. All you have to do is ask China. But let me just explain. So China is devaluing their currency, and they're also pouring money in. Their currency is going to hell, but they're also pouring money in, and that will totally pay for the tariffs. The tariffs are not being paid for by our people. It's being paid for by China because of devaluation and because they're pumping money in. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Well, you interviewed the wrong farmer, number one. Number two, any amount that China sucks out, we're making up out of the billions of dollars that we're taking in. Remember this, our country is taking in billions and billions of dollars from China. We never took in 10 cents from China. And out of that many billions of dollars, we're taking a part of it and we're giving it to the farmers because they've been targeted by China. The farmers, they come out totally whole. So you interviewed the wrong farmer.
You can do it inside sometimes.